Britain's cops have been chasing cars and criminals for more than 50 years, and the pursuits have often been fast and dangerous. Tonight, how the police are now cracking down on speeders.
We've just travelled about 5 miles in excess of 100 miles an hour, and he's about to find out what the likely consequences of that are.
And what the YouTube generation is doing to push dangerous driving to the limit. The latest weapon against speeding bikers, an undercover motor cop.
32, high-speed motorcycle in a wheelie.
And zero tolerance on the roads of Sussex.
I'm going to seize the vehicle for you not having a licence.
In essence, what I'm trying to do is instill the fear of being caught back into the road user.
Driving fast and dangerously is not something which only criminals do.
Yankee 5-3, Romeo Yankee Bravo.
But many motorists who regularly break the speed limit do not consider they are committing a serious crime.
There's some dreadful cases where people have actually killed people in their crashes, and they've gone on and done it again, because actually the consequences of that was so negligible that it didn't affect their behaviour.
Every year, around 3,000 people are killed on Britain's roads, and around 250,000 more are injured or maimed. Speed is a factor in most of the crashes.
It's definitely a social problem that speeding is not considered a bad thing in this country. Maybe something that's peculiar to the culture in this country, I don't know. But the truth of the matter is, it's putting other road users in danger. So that's other people in cars, other pedestrians, other people on bicycles. It's putting those people at risk.
Superintendent Steve Barry is the head of traffic in Sussex, where the police are waging war against motorists who regularly drive too fast.
Hi there. Hello, sir. How are you? Morning. Is it going all right? One so far.
Superintendent Barry believes many law-abiding drivers have had enough of the reckless and the dangerous, and a lack of cops to catch them.
Collisions there, or is it because we get a lot of complaints for speeding?
I think it's more to the complaints.
Yeah. It's a scenario which every driver will be familiar with. Everyone can relate to this. It's white van man that cuts you up. It's that speeding motorist on the motorway that you think, why are they doing 100 miles an hour? Why isn't anybody catching them? And I think in essence, what I'm trying to do is instill the fear of being caught back into the road user.
Instilling fear in Sussex means a zero-tolerance approach to bad driving and motorists who won't conform to the law. They're even getting members of the public to rat on persistently bad drivers.
Operation Crackdown is an initiative whereby, through a website or through a phone number, members of the public who witness or experience antisocial driving can report the offender to the police.
Superintendent Barry's crackdown also involves putting traffic cops on the roads to follow up the information they get.
I think once people realise that we do collect the information that's passed by members of the public, that's what we're trying to encourage, is members of the public to phone in about these antisocial drivers. If people start to realise that we are actively looking to target them, I think it might make them think twice before they put their foot down or do some manoeuvre or drive carelessly.
PC Glenn MacArthur is one of Sussex's top zero-tolerance enforcers. He doesn't appreciate motorists who speed, especially when they do it right in front of him.
Just whilst we come along the bypass there, I was doing 70 and it was pulling away from us, so I've carried out a check on his speed and got him. It's travelling 82 mile an hour and a 70 limit. The reason I've stopped is you've been travelling too fast today.
Have I?
Following along the A27 and speeding up 26 miles an hour and you're doing 92.
Was it?
Can you tell me why you're speeding?
I'm in a hurry.
Okay.
Being in a hurry doesn't cut it with PC MacArthur.
What that means is that you're going to be prosecuted for speeding today.
Oh no!
You are, I'm afraid.
I just thought I was in line with everybody else. There's people going faster than me.
Yeah, you're actually at the front of the line of traffic.
Is that?
And obviously, because your car was the bright colour, I could see you're actually travelling away from us, so I've carried out checking.
Victimised on yellowest, you are. Yellowest. Just pick me because I'm the prettiest driver on the road, aren't I?
I can't see that from behind, can I?
Thanks.
What's your first name, please?
The fixed penalty notice this driver now has also means 3 points on her licence.
All right. You don't mean thank you, really, do you?
No.
I know what you mean, then.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, take it. I hope your day gets better.
Can't get any worse, can it?
Cheerio.
One of the problems is that the traffic law is the most common law that is broken. And therefore, it's got a very high kind of ceiling of offending behaviour. And of course, when you see other people doing this, well, they're doing it, why shouldn't I?
In Sussex, the zero-tolerance drive against the fast and the dangerous includes motorcyclists. The county's long and winding roads are a seventh heaven for speeders on two wheels, especially at the weekend.
We've put a lot of effort into educating these people. We've engaged with the motorcyclists at their gathering points, we've engaged with them at events, we've engaged with them through websites and forums such as that. But the message clearly isn't getting across. So I've decided we're going to target these motorcyclists for enforcement, so that's what we're doing.
It's a £60 fine and it's 3 points on your driving licence.
The Sussex Police have a code name for their motorbike enforcement: Operation Ride.
The intention of the operation here today is to influence rider behaviour amongst our sport bike riders with the intention to reduce their casualties, their deaths and the serious injuries.
Chasing speeding bikers with police cars or bikes is not on. Doing so could cause even more casualties. So the Sussex traffic cops have come up with an unusual solution. They've put an undercover officer on a high-speed bike which is rigged with concealed cameras which record for evidential purposes.
60, 100 plus miles per hour, westbound 8272.
The Sussex Police hope their undercover cop will become as talked about as Top Gear's Stig and remain just as anonymous. So that he can't be identified, he never pulls over or confronts those who he finds breaking the law. That's left to a special backup team, led by Sergeant Tony Crisp.
A covert bike will pick up a group and assess their riding. Hopefully, if their riding is sensible, we'll leave them alone. If their riding appears to be dangerous, then they'll video their riding and calling in any offences, and they'll be stopped by the uniform units that are ahead of him.
The undercover police biker looks just like one of the lads and can keep up with the worst of them.
Heads up, southbound, Colt Waltham behind two motorcycles.
The plain biker's got on the tail end of two other sports bikes and he's just going to assess their riding.
60, 100 plus miles per hour, westbound 8272.
Assessing their riding means watching the speed on the bottom right of the screen.
One of the reasons we've gone to looking at a covert bike to try and deter these riders is the practicalities of trying to catch up with high-speed bikes in a car. The acceleration of these bikes is phenomenal.
Yeah, I got a bike in my mirrors, black bike behind me, 93 miles per hour, stand by.
Understood, thank you.
60, these are the two, stop them both, stop them both.
Phenomenal acceleration isn't much good when you run into an Operation Ride roadblock, and Sergeant Crisp.
The bottom line is, it's the antisocial riding as much as anything. Double white line overtakes into the face of oncoming traffic. Yeah.
The riders are being given fixed penalty notices, but Sergeant Crisp believes they may have had a lucky escape.
When you travel at those speeds in that manner, you just free a very little margin for you to be able to react to something that happens in front of you. So, you're massively increasing the chance of you causing a crash. So it's careless driving, it's driving that due care attention, it's antisocial driving because other motorists have to put up with that style of driving, it's intimidating. And this is why the police officers are dealing with them in this manner now. You've obviously got quite a new bike here. How much did that sort of cost you?
Well,
That's a 10 grand bike.
10 grand?
Yeah.
And what sort of speeds is that capable of?
I think about 180.
About 180 miles an hour?
Yeah. You have to be very aware of everything around you. Are you a biker yourself?
I'm not a biker, no. I'm someone that has been to too many bike accidents. I mean, my colleague's going to deal with you as he sees fit. I'm not part of that.
You know, it's a fair cop, I suppose you could say, but sometimes you don't really actually realise quite how fast you're going because the bike is such a competent, capable bike.
Sergeant Crisp isn't interested in fair cops. He's determined to put a stop to the reckless riding in Sussex.
I'm constantly surprised how many bike riders have had crashes, some of them very serious bike crashes, but haven't learned from that experience and then continue to carry on driving quite fast or taking risks or driving antisocially.
More and more English counties are now taking antisocial riding more seriously. In Lincolnshire, Sergeant Craig Dunderdale is in an unmarked police car and after a biker who is taking big risks at high speeds.
Basically, motorcycle in the opposite direction, about 100 miles an hour, and I'm busy trying to catch up with him at the moment. As you can see, I'm doing not far off that at the moment, and he's already out ahead of these two cars. So the thing I've got to do is the old proportionality aspect, where it's safe, basically. There you go, here he is. Excuse me. Pulls a wheelie. There's no way I'm going to endanger me or any other car users just for the sake of catching up with a motorcyclist. To put it politely, he's in very serious trouble. We've just travelled about 5 miles in excess of 100 miles an hour, up to about 130, and he's about to find out what the likely consequences of that are. All I want people to do is to drive safely, and there's a classic example. Overtaking about a dozen cars in excess of 100 miles an hour, anything coming in the opposite direction, he'd have been dead. Simple as that. Sergeant Dunderdale, take your helmet off, please. You don't have to say anything, but it may harm your defence if not mentioned when questioned, something which will later align in court. I'll tell you that you reported for the consideration of the question of excess speed, dangerous driving, driving without due care and attention. What do you have to say for yourself?
Nothing.
Okay. I appreciate you probably... How often do you ride a bike?
2 or 3 times a week.
Right, okay. I'm not out to catch people doing things. It's up to you whether you do it or not, basically. The consequences of effectively what you've just done is I would thoroughly expect any magistrate's court to disqualify you from driving. I'm not trying to preach to you, mate. Well, unfortunately, as the sergeant for this county, I go to fatal after fatal after fatal. I went to 8 motorcycle fatals last year. 6 of them were excessive speed by the motorcyclist.
Motorcyclists are killed in 1 in every 5 fatal accidents. Yet there's just 1 motorbike for every 20 cars on our roads.
60, southbound A32, high-speed motorcycle in a wheelie.
There's something, I think, physiologically that happens to people when they get on a sports bike that makes them act in an irrational manner. And it can only be the case because why else would people take the risks that they take?
Some bikers not only take risks, they like showing them off to others. This rider posted camera phone footage of himself on YouTube as he did wheelies, skids and raced on the wrong side of the road in Oxfordshire. He paid for his 15 minutes of fame when he was successfully prosecuted. When this man decided to take his 14-year-old son out for a 122-mile-an-hour spin in Cornwall, he left his camera phone at home. The police filmed him instead. Bikers are not the only road users to use phone cameras and the internet to show off. Young car drivers are at it too, filming their crazy and sometimes criminal driving. The thieves who stole this McLaren SLR, one of the fastest road cars in Britain, couldn't resist capturing the moment for posterity and YouTube. Now the Fast and Dangerous routinely post their footage on the World Wide Web for all to see. This footage shows a man racing a high-performance Audi RS6 at high speed in Lincolnshire. He was filmed by his friend, and the result put on the web. They thought there was no way the cops could prove they'd committed a crime. But when PC Gary Chance of the Lincolnshire Police saw the video nasty, he believed he could do something about it. The footage enabled him to work out exactly where the dangerous driving had taken place, and he knew that his police speed cameras could be used to turn the tables on the young lawbreakers.
The video screen is linked to the camera. On it, it shows the distance counter, which is in miles. The camera is usually set in a straight ahead position. For this case, this was turned to replicate the picture was taken from the phone camera.
Replicating the picture enabled PC Chance to identify two landmarks on the side of the road the speeders had used. By working out the actual distance between the two, Chance was able to calculate the speed the driver was travelling at.
As we can see now, the second marker is coming into view on the right-hand side of the screen, and the clock has just gone to 44 seconds. From that time, I can work out and calculate the speed of the vehicle, and that speed was 115 miles an hour.
The driver was found, prosecuted and banned from driving for 15 months. But PC Chance worries that the next one to try it won't be so fortunate.
This bravado is more and more prevalent nowadays than it's ever been before. And again, with the internet, everybody's trying to do something better than somebody else. And eventually it will go wrong, and it does go wrong.
The World Health Organization predicts that by the year 2020, road accidents will be the third biggest cause of death and injury on Earth. A large proportion of them will involve young men.
Young males in particular have this desire to take risks, to show off, and that combined with a lack of experience behind the wheel results in them having crashes. And far too many of them are dying, far too many of them are being seriously injured and having their lives completely wrecked.
According to some scientists, the answer to why young men take risks lies inside their heads.
Recent evidence from neuroscience suggests that brain is not fully developed until you're about 25 years of age. This is particularly pronounced amongst young males. There's a whole range of different, very much higher order skills that the young driver, especially the male driver, isn't fully adept at being able to control.
Road accident statistics confirm that the police are right to focus on young motorists.
Young people are disproportionately represented in our statistics. Despite being only 1 in every 15 drivers on the road, they make up nearly a third of those who die and a quarter of those charged with death by dangerous driving. The truth is that young people die more often on the roads than in any other cause of death in this country and in fact across the world. And the most common killer of a young woman in this country is the young man that was driving the car.
One young woman who lost her life to a young male driver was 19-year-old Leanne Fletcher from Barnsley. She was in a car with 4 friends when the teenage driver lost control and hit a tree. 3 died, 2 survived. Her mum Lisa was at home at the time.
A knock came on the door and a police officer just came in and told us. I just screamed. They then wanted us to go and identify her, which no mother should ever have to do that. We weren't allowed to hug her. We were just allowed to touch her hand.
Natasha Walker was one of the passengers in the car and Leanne's best friend.
I'd gone to see her and she just looked peaceful. I held her hand and I stood and talked to her for a bit. And I just as to why.
Natasha believes that one of the reasons why might have been a drive faster challenge made by passenger Chris, a young man celebrating his 18th birthday, who also died.
Well, Chris did say, if you get us to Barnsley in 10 minutes, I'll give you a tenner. But he'd had a drink, he were excited, and he wanted to get to Barnsley that little bit faster. I guess I didn't think the speed would increase to what it did. That's when I actually did say to Leanne, the last thing I did say to her is we're going to crash. I knew she was scared as much as I were because her heart attack, she were holding my hand. I don't think young drivers these days realise what speed does. Speed will kill you if you're going to take that risk and drive erratic just to show off. There's no point because you're just putting your life in danger and you're probably putting somebody else's in danger as well.
Leanne Fletcher's mother believes the dangers would be less if teenage drivers got further education after they've passed their test.
To make things safer, I think really when they have passed the driving test, they should be put on these awareness courses where, you know, they give them training, you know, not just go and take a driving test and they get that piece of paper and that's it. They can go and jump in a car and basically do whatever speed they want to do. I think they do need educating more.
In the Thames Valley, the police have introduced further education. They were the first police force in Britain to offer young drivers extra training for points. 2 people die on Thames Valley roads every week, and young drivers who are caught breaking the motoring laws here are sentenced to a speed awareness course.
What sort of things are we here for? Speeding, yeah? Anything else?
On the phone.
On the phone, okay.
Donuts in the street.
Oh, okay. What kind of speeds have we got involved?
37.
37 in a 30, okay. Anyone much higher than that in a 30? 45 in a 30. If you was 26, you could be banned for that straight away.
I still need my licence for my job as well.
Okay, yeah, most of us do. Or going to
Everyone in this classroom was given a choice by the police. Take points on your licence or attend the course.
I was taking a few people to a funeral around Crowthorne, and I thought it was a 40, but it was a 30, and that was it really. I was doing 37.
I got caught doing double the speed limit in a 30. I jumped a red light.
I was driving at 40, but it was a 30, and then stupid people took a picture of me, and now I've got to do this.
Rather than punish people and take their licence away, we'd rather intervene and at least the first time they get it wrong, give them an opportunity to learn so they don't get it wrong again in the future. It's groundbreaking, it's the first of its type in the country, but we are doing something now to try and save our young people's lives.
Egged on by mates.
The course instructors also use videos to shock.
5 miles an hour over the limit. Mathematically, once you get past 30, the kinetic energy gets so involved that the damage starts really taking place. When you introduce speed, the variable... We're hoping that the information will work for some people, but it won't work for all. You can take a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. But I think there's enough data from courses like this, and the reoffend rate is lower than people that are just penalised with points. Even the hands-free is a distraction, is it not?
One man who spends his working life picking up the pieces when it's all too late is Gary Baldwin, a senior road collision investigator.
Just about perfect. Just a little tiny bit towards me. Can we go in that way?
He's recreating the final impact position of 2 cars involved in a fatal crash. Gary Baldwin has been doing this job for the last 20 years. It's he who must find out who, if anyone, was to blame. The Astra on the right was going over the brow of a hill when it collided with the Peugeot, which was coming out of a drive on the other side. The woman driving the Peugeot was killed instantly.
As I'm trying to reconstruct the speed of this vehicle, it's important for me to know exactly how the 2 cars have struck and that the momentum of this one has gone directly through the centre of gravity of that one.
The man driving the Astra wasn't killed, but he did receive serious head injuries.
With the Astra, we've got what is a fairly classic driver head strike mark from the inside. There's blood, we can see it smeared on the windscreen. If he'd had his seatbelt on, which he didn't, he would not have got anywhere near this point, so this wouldn't exist.
Baldwin suspects that for the Peugeot to have sustained so much damage, the Astra must have been doing twice the speed claimed by the driver, but he has to prove it.
The damage has intruded pretty well halfway through the Peugeot. Massive amount of sideways acceleration that the driver would have been subject to. There's no real way of protecting a driver from that, even though it's a fairly old car now. Even a modern car can't provide you with a level of protection that's going to ensure you come out of a crash like that. It's just dealing with much too much energy.
Gary Baldwin doesn't only study the wrecks, he revisits the crash sites too.
Just this side of the police car is a driveway, and the Peugeot is pulling out from that driveway, and as the Astra driver comes over the brow, that car is in the road already. And he basically says at 40 miles an hour, he's unable to stop.
This is a crime scene, and investigator Baldwin is trying to find out if the man was telling the truth and only doing 40 miles an hour.
So that's it, I'm tickling over the brow now. And about now we start to see where the crash would have occurred. And I mean, I'm not even trying. Easy. Very easy. No stress, no drama at all. So we've got to travel all this way, right down to here, which is where the impact occurred. So if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, no crash.
Gary Baldwin now knows the man driving the Astra was doing around 80 miles an hour before the crash. For him, it's not the dead which causes nightmares, it's the ones who are left behind.
I think if you say it's not upsetting, then you're probably a bit weird. Obviously it is, but I don't find that too traumatic. It's the people left behind that I find difficult to cope with. Dead bodies, yeah, I mean, that's just part of the job, but you know, dealing with people who've just lost someone really important to them, that's much, much tougher.
A 160 miles away, Sergeant Craig Dunderdale is once again after a speeder. Not a biker this time, but a van driver who is also driving dangerously.
We were parked up and I watched a blue transit van overtake a car, no issue there, approaching the hill. Then he approached the second car, and by now he's getting towards the top of the hill, and I thought if he goes for the lorry, I'm probably going to watch a fatal. But that's the worst piece of driving I've seen there in years. Now it's just a question of catching up with him.
Catching up with him is easier said than done. Sergeant Dunderdale's undercover police car might be fast, but he's not prepared to take chances with it.
He's overtaken a heap of vehicles that I'm just not prepared to, because I know full well it'd be dangerous. So I have to wait behind them. Meanwhile, he's making further and further headway. Within 50 metres of where he overtook that lorry, there was a fatal where at least 2 young kids died a couple of years ago by doing exactly the same thing.
The blue transit van is now in Sergeant Dunderdale's sight again. This time, the dangerous driving hasn't ended in a fatal.
Now then, where have you just come from, driving-wise?
Well, I saw you turn off at Bartney there.
Yeah, you did, didn't you? Where did you overtake the lorry?
On the hill.
Brow of the hill, yeah. And why do you think I've stopped you?
Because of that?
Yeah, absolutely. You imagine a car's coming over the brow of that hill at 60 miles an hour, and if you hit him head on, you're dead. Why did you overtake there?
I didn't know I could get past
You knew you could get past him. Well, how can you see the far side of a brow of a hill?
I'm not going to argue with you about that.
Okay, well, what I'll tell you is that you've been reported for the consideration due care. I'll obviously submit a report, right? And what I'm saying is you can't see the far side of a hill.
I'm not arguing.
Mate, no, I know you're not. All I'm doing is pointing out to you why I've stopped you. That's unfortunately a good reason as to why we have so many fatals on our roads.
Sergeant Dunderdale and the blue van man have met before in similar circumstances.
I'm sure 4 or 5 years, 3 or 4 years ago, you got fucking coming out alive straight.
Right. So what's the combination there then?
You're always where I am.
It's not to do with what you're doing then, is it?
No, at the end of the day, I've been driving 40 odd bloody years.
Yeah.
I'm not stupid. Or else
You-
I wouldn't have
right.
I would have had an accident.
How you're not having an accident doing that manoeuvre amazes me. But I'm only interested in keeping you alive. You won't believe me. I'm interested because I have to go through all the fatals. I'm interested in keeping you and everybody else, the 79 other people that might die this year, alive. That's all I care about. I get paid.
It's not only the cops who are trying to keep people alive. The government is too, by using shock tactics on TV. This one reminds us how many children die on our roads. These TV campaigns draw upon actual fatal road accidents for inspiration, and scientists from the Transport Research Laboratory have long used the same crash scenes to help them understand better how to prevent accidents or lessen their impact.
Over the last 10, 15 years, we've learned an awful lot from real crashes, going to the scenes of crashes, studying how people in the real world are being injured. Taking that back to the crash laboratory, and motor manufacturers have made huge advances with seatbelt technologies, airbags for people in the cars, where we're seeing people survive now crashes, frontal crashes, where they just wouldn't have 10 years ago.
For children, the survival rate is always critically linked to speed.
We recently undertook 2 crash tests, one at 20 miles an hour and one at 30 miles an hour, with a 6-year-old child dummy. We wanted really to show the difference that you would see in the loading conditions on the dummy at those 2 speeds. At 20 miles an hour, the child's head was striking the bonnet at around 17 miles an hour. By increasing the speed of the car to 30 miles an hour, we got that head speed to bonnet at 34 miles per hour. We doubled the speed that the head hit the bonnet, which is probably almost certainly fatal for a child in that sort of impact configuration.
Impact configurations are what PC's MacArthur and Elshot and the Sussex Police are trying to prevent with an uncompromising approach to motorists who break the law. They don't hang around waiting for the bad ones to come their way. They go looking for trouble, targeting bad or illegal drivers.
I liken us to sharks. We hunt around, look for our prey. You're going to be reported for failing to wear your seatbelt. You don't have to say anything, but it may harm your defence if you fail to mention now something which you later relied on in court. It's about putting yourself in the right places at the right times to catch these people. Because you could drive around aimlessly for 8 hours and not see anything.
But today, PC MacArthur, the road shark, has an eagle eye. He spotted what might be an out-of-date tax disc.
After that one there, that red tax disc. Get around after it, mate. Which one?
MacArthur's in-car computer has confirmed the tax disc has passed its renewal date, and the 4x4 might not be properly insured either.
What insurance do you have for this vehicle?
My boss's insurance on his BMW should cover this.
Boss's vehicle or yours?
Boss's.
Right, okay.
What's that insurance? You know where you have it for one car, but it
Right.
insures you to drive everything else? That stuff.
Well, I'll get some information from him. Who is your boss?
What? Richard.
Richard who?
Plumbing and heating.
For some reason, the numbers for the man's boss don't ring true.
I don't know whether he's there at the moment or whether he's still at work, but he ain't got his work phone anymore because he left it on the roof. You know how these things happen.
Okay. Have you had any dealings with us before? Have you ever been in trouble, police?
A few times, mate.
Okay. Do you have any driving matters against you?
No driving matters at all.
No tax, no insurance. What about a driving licence?
No trace.
No trace means the DVLA has no record of one.
The story about his boss owning the vehicle and him driving under his boss's insurance, well, I don't believe it, if I'm honest. You don't have a driving licence. There's not one in existence. If you had a provisional, that was sharp. If If you had a full licence, that would show up, and nothing is showing up against you. As a result of which, I'm going to seize the vehicle for you not having a licence.
So it's standing?
Something.
Something.
Report it for no tax, OK? You don't have to say anything, but it may harm your defence if you fail to mention now something which you later relied on in court. If you do so, may be given as evidence. All right. Copper, is that?
Take your coat. See you later, mate.
Cheerio, bye-bye. I think if he had a driving licence, it would have come up on our system. But I personally feel it's his vehicle. He's just a bit of a chance. I mean, he was talking about they've just spent some money on it, doing tyres and the little bits and bobs. And you think, well, if that's someone else's car, why would you spend money on that? So yeah, quite satisfying. Gets him off the road. You know, we all pay our car tax, and it's nice to get him off the road.
The Sussex Police campaign against young drivers who flout the law involves special patrols which go looking for likely lads.
We have priority groups who we actively try and seek out and advise. One is young drivers, i.e. 17 to 25-year-olds, purely because when they get involved in an accident, it's quite a bad one because of the way they drive, because of their inexperience. Obviously, we try and intervene at a young age and educate them a bit and hopefully save one of their lives one day.
PC Phil Mann intervenes in places he knows young drivers like to hang around. Like remote country car parks, a favourite haunt for the YouTube generation of donut filmmakers.
That's the weirdest place to park. Oh, they just come here to eat their big eats by the look of it. Have a quick chat anyway. How are you doing? Okay, is it your car?
Yeah, it's my car.
Fantastic. Having anything to drink tonight at all?
No.
OK, just going to do a check on your licence, all right? Just do a check on the vehicle. And then hopefully we'll leave you in peace so you can eat your pasta meals.
OK, thank you.
Yeah, OK.
These youngsters are not boy racers, but they are in a car park which has attracted other daredevil drivers. The marks of the donuts are still on the tarmac.
Lovely. So you're all meeting up with your friends here, are you, later?
Yeah, we usually do.
Yeah. Obviously, there is evidence that people are attempting to do donuts. When I say attempting, they're not doing a very good job of it. However, could you just ask your friends, should it be them? Obviously, don't. Yeah?
OK.
All right, because we are around about tonight, and we don't want you to crash and hurt each other. Because you've got friends.
PC Man hopes Sussex's firm but fair approach will keep these young people safe.
Kids generally come to this car park for the same reason, I suppose, we used to do when we were young. Just to get out and about, feel a bit of freedom, I suppose. Here's a prime example of it. Meet in the car park, nothing else to do. Yep. Catch them while they're young, hopefully he'll educate them, and hopefully they'll live to be old and wise. Like us.
Sussex's old and wise traffic cops also use undercover police cars to catch speeders and bad drivers. This unmarked BMW is as fast as anything on the road.
A year and a half ago, when I took over road policing, I made the decision that we were going to be more covert and use more unmarked vehicles in our tackling of the antisocial driver. It seems to be paying dividends. It's very much linked into initiatives such as Operation Crackdown.
Some people might say it's an underhanded tactic, but if people are consistently flouting the law and then they change when they see a marked police vehicle, we need to deal with that manner of driving when they don't see a marked police vehicle. I suppose working in the plain car, it's almost like being invisible to a degree, and all of a sudden, when we need to, we put the lights and sirens on, and everyone knows who we are.
And everyone will find out that PC MacArthur is still Mr. Zero Tolerance, particularly if you're on the phone.
It's a female.
Is she on the phone? Yes, she is. You'll see that she's on the phone. And she's looked at us and then looked away. She's still not aware.
It's on camera.
We'll have a little word now. When Glenn can find somewhere safe to stop her.
She's distracted doing something else, and she's putting herself at a great risk.
Not actually holding the phone to her ear. What she's doing is she's probably got it on loudspeaker by the looks of it. Still completely illegal. The phone itself must be held in a cradle to be operated safely. Let's sort of see what she's got to say for herself. Hello there, can I just ask you to jump out for a moment? I'll tell you why I've stopped you. We're just coming to the side for a moment. The reason I've stopped you tonight is you're using your mobile phone whilst you're driving, OK, which is an offence. That's an offence which you're now reported for the consideration of the question of prosecuting you for that offence. I'm going to caution you that you do not have to say anything, but it may harm your defence if you do not mention now something which you later rely on in court, and anything you do say may be given in evidence. You're far too close to the car in front. You're holding your phone here, so you've only got one hand on the steering wheel. So if you need to take avoiding action, you're going to find it difficult. My advice to you today would be put the phone out of sight. Put it on the back seat, put it in the glove box, put it somewhere where you can't be tempted to answer it or make a phone call. Because unfortunately what's going to happen today is you're going to end up with points on your driver's licence and a fine. What line of work are you in then?
I work in the salon, but I'm going to homework.
Right. The driver's a beautician on the move, but she might not be mobile for much longer.
Have to take a 481. Can you just tell me the serial number, please?
It seems her car's not insured, which means PC MacArthur can seize it.
Insurance was cancelled on the 2nd of March for non-payment.
For non-payment.
And they've confirmed that they have her current address, which is the one she gave.
OK, 2nd of March.
2nd of March for non-payment.
As you go into a recession, and we're in one, people are looking to reduce their costs, and something like the car tax and maybe the insurance, and I'll save a bit on that, and I just can't afford it. I need the car for my work. I can't afford these extras as there seem to be.
Okay, the Motor Insurance Bureau...
It's really dangerous to drive a car that's uninsured.
We're going to be taking the car today. In a moment, I'm going to ask you to take any tools of your trade out of the vehicle, i.e. if you're a beautician, your curling tongs and your nail varnish or whatever you carry, OK?
The beautician is on the phone again, this time legally, asking her mum for a lift home.
Instead of going away with a ticket for using a mobile phone, unfortunately, she's not going to be going away with any paper apart from the seizure notice for her vehicle and receiving a summons through the post in the next few weeks to attend magistrates' court.
Take care. Bye-bye. She's very upset. I think once the reality of what happened or what potentially was going to happen had sunk in, she got very upset and she started crying. Never nice to see, because it's nothing worse than a female at the side of the road crying whilst two police officers are speaking to her.
Driving while using a handheld mobile phone has been illegal since 2003. Yet a recent survey found that over 50% of drivers admit to still using handheld phones whilst driving.
You know, when you're driving, you need to be applying most, if not all, your concentration to what you're doing. You know, the manoeuvring of the car, what's going on around you, what's going to happen that might be unexpected. And of course, if you're on the phone to somebody having a conversation, your attention is diverted to the conversation you're having.
Hi, James. My mate Jules fancies you.
The police in Gwent have been busy diverting mobile phone motorists by showing them a film. It's become a sensation on YouTube and is being hailed as a new form of getting the message across.
You're going to be okay. We need to get you off to the hospital.
Mommy, Daddy, wake up. I want Mommy and Daddy to wake up.
We've really got to take this viral marketing, this approach, and actually get to young people that way. Because that's what is the 21st century. That's the way you get to kids now. I showed my daughter that clip, and she was really impressed. She's 17 years of age. A lot of her friends have seen that clip. And suddenly it's like, wow, you know, we've actually been in a car. We've been texting and driving.
One young woman who used her handheld whilst driving but got caught is 23-year-old Katie Page. She now wants to find out just how distracting using a mobile can be, which means a session in a special simulator with her phone. And Katie's about to get a call.
Can you please describe your sitting room to me?
The questions we use in the test are a standardised set of questions. Some are arithmetic, some are repeat, some are spatial questions, so asking the way to the station, for example. They are reasonably difficult, but they're not difficult if it's the only thing you have to do. What is really difficult is to combine the answers to these questions with driving it on a motorway, which is what we're seeing here.
Can you please describe a memorable holiday?
When I went
when I went away to Malta.
Infrared cameras focused on Katie's eye help to show how distracted she's become. Her erratic driving is even easier to spot.
In the car, no.
Katie slowed right down, drifted across a lane without there being any other traffic around. She's lost awareness. She's not looking at the mirrors as much as she was. And even switching the phone from one hand to the other, she's ending up taking both hands off the wheel. In the research we've done looking at mobile phones, we found that drivers, when they're having a conversation on the phone, whether it's handheld or hands-free, we find that their reaction times get worse. And what's interesting is that their performance is worse than being at the legal limit of alcohol.
No, I don't think so.
Whether hands-free or handheld, they should have been banned completely. There's no question about that. They didn't ban them because it was a politically sensitive thing to do. You know, you don't want to alienate the motorist.
Although I was expecting the phone call, it still showed me how much my speed and awareness does change, even though I might not realise it. I'm no longer using my phone ever again.
And where was horse 7?
I don't think it's going to be the man they want.
In Sussex, the battle with fast and dangerous drivers also involves targeting criminals who use their cars to break the law. PC's Neil McGregor and Simon Friend are now in the zero-tolerance seats, after a man with a drugs record who doesn't seem to be insured.
He's on a suspended sentence for possession of amphetamine with intent to supply. The thing is, his vehicle shows there's no insurance as well. Is this your vehicle, is it?
No, it's Gordon's vehicle.
Right. Do you just step out for me? Yeah, of course. OK, you're in possession of the controlled substances?
No.
No, not at all?
No, check me if you want.
OK, my colleague will just give you a quick search. He's just standing behind you there.
Okay.
That's it. Just take your hands out of your pockets for us. Lovely.
The man hasn't got any drugs on him, but his car isn't so clean. PC Friend has found amphetamine.
Ruby. Okie dokie. Pop your hands behind your back for us. Pop your hands behind your back for us. Awesome. So you understand you're under arrest under caution, yes?
Anything you do say, maybe give them evidence. Do you understand?
Nice. OK. Yeah, 03, that's one in custody, possession of Class A. The vehicle's been searched, and in between the two front seats is this pack here, which we believe to be amphetamine. Obviously Class A drug, so he's been arrested on suspicion of possessing a Class A drug. It's actually quite a sizable lump.
Okie dokie. If you agree that's what you said, we'll ask you to do.
The driver agrees. He's now happy to admit the drugs are his, even though he initially denied having any.
That's amphetamine, that is. It's mine anyway.
Yeah.
Put it in there weeks ago, I remember now.
How much did it cost you?
About 40 quid.
About 40 quid.
But I don't drink, I don't gamble, I don't smoke, I don't do any other vice, so I used to take that bit, do you know what I mean?
Go in and park yourself down. Sit yourself down there.
As a general rule of thumb, a criminal won't specialise in committing one area of crime. They will have a total disrespect for law. Therefore, if you're pulling a vehicle over which has been highlighted as having no insurance, the reality is it probably has got other associated offences.
Finding such a large quantity of drugs means the Sussex police will now search the driver's house, in case he's been dealing again.
He's now in custody at Hastings Police Station. As a result of that, the inspector's authorised a Section 18 search of his address. So we've come to the address, so anything relating to the drugs at the address.
It's not drugs that caught the search team's eye, but a brand new TV.
Well, at the moment, we've got an interest in this plasma television because, as you can see, it looks fairly alien to the property. We'll be seizing that as potentially stolen. We're just in the very early throes of the search at the moment. Obviously, the focus will be drugs. In a short while, probably within the hour, hopefully, I've got a drug stop coming. We'll cast them around the house once the physical search has been done. There's a big yard area at the back as well, which is going to take a significant time to search.
The house is unusual in many ways. It's fitted with its own CCTV and alarm system.
There's one there from memory.
It's got alarms and everything.
Yeah, I think that sensor is maybe for that camera, perhaps.
Yeah.
No, that's it. Probably not. No.
That's just a movement sensor.
Yeah. He can see you coming, and he can dispose of any drugs before we get here.
They might just be security conscious.
It's not only the arrested car driver who lives here. There's another man here too.
Yeah, we've got loads of uncapped needles. When we entered the room, the chap was standing here watching us on the CCTV as we approached. He was detained for the purpose of the search, taken downstairs. We come back and searched the room. We found a bag full of needles and syringes. And obviously, as we're searching, we're finding uncapped needles all over the place. Obviously, there's one containing some sort of substance there. Not sure what it is. We've got the rubber gloves on. We're being very careful. We're not sticking our hands, in drawers and rummaging around just in case we get a needle stick injury.
What started as a targeted drug stop and a no insurance violation has now developed into a major drugs operation involving 7 cops. Although no Class A drugs have been found inside the house, the evidence suggests something else. Drugs could be hidden in the field at the back. A job for Jazz. It doesn't take long.
That is an incredible find.
It's buried probably about that much under some loose leaves. And
buried as well.
Specialist trained dog, which looks for drugs, obviously. He's cast the dog down this fence line away from the property, and the dog went absolutely wild digging at the leaves and what have you. So we've had a little dig, found this sharp spin here, which is well buried, fairly deep, a good sort of 1.5 foot deep. And my colleague Roger's taken the top off and found a big bag of drugs, so that's fantastic. If it's cocaine, there's a kilo there, probably about £50,000 worth in that small bag. So yeah, an awful lot of money seized, certainly disrupt the criminal. Yeah, I'm pleased. I'm still shaking with excitement actually finding that.
Someone once told me that big criminals commit big crimes, but big criminals also commit little crimes. And often vehicle crime is somewhere where we can actually target or intercept bigger criminals. It's the Al Capone thing, isn't it? If you can't get them for the major crime, sometimes you can find an alternative route into to deal with them.
Back on the roads of Sussex, the stigged-up undercover police biker is still hard at work and the Operation Ride team at full throttle.
Southbound A32, high-speed motorcycle in a wheelie.
As we stood in that car park, there was a white motorcycle come past us at a reasonable speed. As soon as he got past the car park, you could hear him increase the revs massively. He's probably not aware he's got a covert police vehicle behind him and has then gone off at high speed, popping wheelies.
Being caught popping wheelies could be the least of this biker's worries. He's already got 6 points on his licence and there's no road tax on his machine.
What's interesting about the bike is you can see it's quite a high-powered bike, and if you ever look where the registration plate is, it's an illegal registration plate. It's very tiny. It's put in a place where it's never really going to be read easily. To me, you would only put the registration plate there in order to try and avoid being caught and being identified and being prosecuted for these offences. You don't accidentally travel at 102 miles an hour and pull wheelies. This is someone that has come out today in order to travel at those speeds on the public roads.
It's a straightforward £60 fine, doesn't carry any points.
As well as the fixed penalty notice, the rider's been given what's known as a Section 59 warning for antisocial driving. A piece of legislation which was introduced in 2002, which allows the police to confiscate bikes being ridden dangerously.
The principle behind it is it gets the vehicle off the road, and it counts as a warning to the person riding or driving for a 12-month period that should they get caught again, then they could be prosecuted even further.
More warnings could be on the way.
Esbourne Golf Club, solid white line overtake.
The undercover police bike is onto another rider who's too fast and potentially dangerous.
60, just coming into Esbourne now. Dropping down the hill into the 30 limit.
Roger, I'm on foot at the R8.
Once again, Sergeant Crisp is manning the roadblock ahead.
Hello, my friend.
quick chat with you about your riding. So what you pull in there, pull up next to the silver car there. Is that okay? Cheers, buddy. Thank you. Just a quick summary of what you thought top speed was, please.
Top speed was in excess of 120 miles per hour. He's basically spanked it all the way from Hillington. I think due care and attention would be a fairer one.
The man gets a fixed penalty notice and a Section 59 antisocial riding warning.
I want you to have a nice journey. I want you to enjoy your bike, but I don't want you to see you dead. And that's what I'm looking at. I've been to one road death in the last 24 hours already. I don't want to be another one.
I can't understand.
As the antisocial biker heads for home, Sergeant Crisp is relieved to find that not everyone on the roads today is going too fast.
Oh, you see, that's the speed that I want you to see you at.
Won't catch me.
While the police continue to catch Britain's speeding drivers and riders, the road safety campaigners are asking for even more zero tolerance and greater crackdowns.
Until there's a clampdown and people understand the risk, then really nothing's going to change. It's only going to get worse.
Not only do the sentences need to be tougher, not only do the fines need to be higher, but the entry point to getting your driving licence, to getting on the road, to being a potential risk to other road users needs to be far more stringent.
3,000 people die in the UK every year because of road crashes. We wouldn't tolerate that amount of death with airplanes or with trains, but on the road, we do. If it's your son or your daughter that's killed, nothing can replace them.
A year after the death of Bisa Lester, 2 men pleaded guilty to causing death by dangerous driving. They were sent to prison for 4 and 2.5 years, respectively. For Bisa's family, there is a lifetime of living without her.
1 minute she's there, 1 minute she's taken from us, and through no fault of her own, total strangers playing games on the road, have taken her life and left a massive void in all our families.
Senseless, stupid, 2 young men racing side by side on a narrow road that they shouldn't have been speeding that fast. Shattered all our lives. You know, 4 or 5 families, it's shattered, completely shattered.
You always think to yourself, it's not going to be my family, it's not going to happen to us. And but you know, it obviously goes to show that you're not safe out there.
It's the suddenness with a road accident. They're going to the shops and then that's it. It's all gone. And that really does hit people hard. And you know, I've seen it so many times. It just leaves a hole which is never filled.